Most people spend a big chunk of their careers trying to be heard. If that's your frustration, at some point, you've probably come across the words influence without authority. And you probably thought, that sounds useful. I want that. But then you struggle to actually get influence because of one problem. Everyone talks about influence, but few actually explain what it costs. So many Chinese professionals that I coach assume that influencing without authority means using smoother language or stronger logic. But the truth is this: influencing without authority is hard because you are trying fundamentally to trade nothing for influence. Like, let's be real here. You don't control their salary, their promotion, their priorities, but you do control one thing: where you apply pressure. Earlier in my career, I led a biz ops team. We basically served as the right hand of the CEO, solving the company's most challenging problems. That's what a lot of business operations teams do. There was this one time our chief people officer came to us and we had this emergency in our recruiting organization. We needed to revamp our technical hiring process. So, the way that we hire software engineers and data scientists, because our technical hiring process was super slow, outdated, and it was causing us to lose all these strong candidates. So, on the surface, across the company, everyone agreed that we needed to change something. But in reality, the talent team felt threatened by our involvement. And I don't blame them. Who wants some group of internal consultants to just sweep in and tell you how to do the job that you've been doing for a decade, right? So there was this one recruiting manager who avoided meeting up with us for weeks. And, when she finally did, she was so defensive and unwilling to cooperate. So we did what most people would do in this situation. We tried to explain our thinking, shared frameworks, logic, reasons why the process wasn't working. We tried to convince our way through to her by using data-informed recruiting frameworks and telling her that that was the right way. No surprise, nothing changed. And I guess I could call the next move that I made a strategic move, but honestly, I think I was just frustrated. I just simply stopped pushing everywhere. I stopped asking her to come to meetings. And I was basically like, if you guys want to blow us off meeting after meeting, the next time that the CPO shares a recruiting metric that you've never heard of, don't come to me asking for it. You're going to have to come to our next meeting so that you know what we're talking about here. And it took focusing outside of this stakeholder group to realize that actually the pressure point that we needed to apply pressure to was not the recruiting team. It was the VP of R&D. Because the VP of R&D set the vision for engineering and data science. And if she supported our changes, then everyone else would fall in line. So I went to her and I started the long and hard process of influencing without authority. And at first, I had no idea what we could offer her in exchange for the influence that we wanted. So instead of just coming in and trying to convince her again, in our first meeting, I just started with a much simpler question. What does good hiring mean to you? Not what it means to our CPO, just what you care about. And her answer just surprised me. She used none of the language that my team had been using, like hiring funnels, interview loop optimization, time to offer. Instead, she talked about diversity and inclusion, making her R&D teams a place that reflected the diversity of her own customer base. Put simply, she wanted to feel and be seen as a modern people-first leader. That was not our original focus, but it didn't matter, right? Influence is not about convincing others to do what you think is right. It's about recognizing that right means something different to each person. And so we adjusted. I rallied my own team and started an employee referral campaign for underrepresented minority candidates. And we even crawled through LinkedIn late nights to DM profiles that we thought would be a good fit. We did everything we could to help her achieve her goals. And once she felt supported, everything shifted. She spoke highly of our team, brought us into meetings with her leadership team, including the recruiting leaders, and they saw the shifting winds and how she was treating us, and then magically they started cooperating, and resistance faded, progress became easier. Not because we convinced everyone, because we focused on the right person. So, the next time you try to influence without authority, remember 3 things. Number 1, identify the pressure point. Number 2, understand what they want. And number 3, help them get it. If that approach sounds kind to you, I admire your naivete. And if it sounds manipulative, I admire your cynicism. Maybe influencing without authority is just the act of manipulating others with kindness. All right, it is time for Melon Break. It's time to 吃瓜. And this week, 3 reasons that you should be watching the Winter Olympics. So, in case you missed it, the 2026 Winter Olympics are here. And while I totally understand you might not be very interested in the equivalent of the Summer Olympics' little brother, here are a few reasons that you should be interested. First of all, Mariah had a moment to remember. Christmas is over, right? So why are people still talking about Mariah Carey? Well, she stole the spotlight at the Milano Cortina opening ceremony, wearing a glittering diamond-heavy dress and just delivering a performance that instantly went viral. A lot of people joked online that it felt less like a sports event and more like a Super Bowl level pop concert. Second, JD's moment to forget. When the US Vice President JD Vance appeared on the big screen during the opening ceremony, parts of the crowd audibly booed, which is pretty unusual for the Olympics, right? Where's the Olympic spirit? Then again, plenty of unusual stuff is happening in the world these days, isn't it? And finally, Eileen Gu's moment is now. Freestyle skiing star Eileen Gu, whose Chinese name is Gu Eiling, is not just competing this year. She is in a totally different financial league. Thanks to all the major luxury and fashion endorsements that she has, her net worth is far higher than any other Olympic athlete, making her more like a global celebrity than a traditional winter sports competitor. And with her status as the poster girl of the Winter Olympics, I am reminded, as a career coach, that it is not enough to work hard and be excellent. You have to know where your value is highest. Good for her. If you want to use these talking points at work, here's how you can bring it up naturally with your coworkers. You can say, have you noticed how this year's Winter Olympics feels extra cultural? Mariah Carey, JD Vance, it's so much more than just sports nowadays. Or if you want to tone up the professionalism with your boss, you can say, the Olympics is starting to feel like a mix of sports and entertainment now. Celebrities, fashion, reaction, everything. Day Up is written, produced, and hosted with love by me, Jonathan Lee. If you want to support high-quality, free podcasting for Chinese professionals, please like and review this podcast. It would mean so much to hear from you. That's all for today. 下次再见，职场小伙伴们。